have to make. Let's keep on reading. When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and scribes of the people and asked him where the Messiah would be born. Why do you think Herod was upset and troubled with Jerusalem with him? Who was Herod? He was the king, right? So who's the king of the Jews? He is. Herod is. So how funny would that be? Like some people showing up like, we're here to worship the king of the Jews. He's like, you came to the right place. Here I am, right? But no, that's not what he said. They said there's a king that's just born that will be king of the Jews. Whoa, hold up. So he's worried because he's going to lose his control and power. But here's the deal. Rome was in control of this area at the time. He was just like a little puppet that was just in charge of the Jews, just to kind of keep them calm. Right? So he didn't even have a whole lot of power to begin with. You think about whenever Jesus was crucified, what did the Jews have to do? They had to take it to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of the time, to have the okay to even execute Jesus. Right? So, King Herod don't have a whole lot of authority anyways. So what he's got, man, he's holding on to. He don't want to let go and lose that possible control. However, as we see later on, for us to find true peace, we have to let go of our control. We have to. Because you can't find peace in a world full of chaos without letting go of control. Let's keep on reading. In Bethlehem of Judea, they told him, because this is what was written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. Because, out of you will... Out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. So, this is a prophecy that was fulfilled by Jesus. All right, so, prophecy is something that was said about the Messiah a long time ago in the Old Testament, 400 to like 1,800 years before Jesus came, were several prophecies, and Jesus fulfilled all of them. Over 350 of them he fulfilled. He made true in his life. One of those was just being born in Jerusalem, or born in Bethlehem. All right? So, pretty cool that Jesus did all those. Like, it's just astounding if you look at the actual statistics of it. All right? It proves that he was the Messiah. Absolutely. Without a shadow of doubt. But what this passage proves to us is that Herod was not looking for Jesus. Because he didn't even know where he was going to be born. He wasn't looking for the Messiah. In Herod's mind, who was the Messiah? Himself, right? That's all he cared about, number one. He was not looking for Jesus. He wasn't concerned with God. And so we have some questions to answer. Are we looking for Jesus? Are we concerned about Jesus in this time? Let's keep on reading. Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them the exact time that the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. And when you find him, report back to me so that I too can go and worship him." So Herod got some inside info. This is where scholars are like, 2 years. Probably 2 years. Maybe they told him that's exactly 2 years ago is when the star came. We don't know. It's all speculation. It's a good educated guess. But we don't know. What we do know is Herod got some inside info as to exactly when the star showed up. And then Herod C is trying to trick the wise men into telling him where this baby Jesus is. And we find out later he wants to go kill him. That's why. He doesn't tell him, "Yeah, I want to kill him." What does he say? "Yeah, I want to go worship him too." Yeah. So come tell me where it is so that I can go worship him, right? A little bit of chaos going on here, right? Some chaos. Things are not as they seem. Let's keep reading. After hearing the king, they went on their way. And there it was, the star they had seen at its rising. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. Some versions say great joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. And falling to their knees, they worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route. So the star shows back up, the ones that they followed to Jerusalem. It boom, appears again and leads them straight to where Jesus was. And it says that they were overcome with this great joy. Right? And a lot of times we're like, oh, it's like the same thing as peace, right? Peace, joy, it's like the same thing. Totally different things, right? Joy and happiness are really close, but joy and peace are totally different. And we'll get into that later, but just put a little footnote there, put your thumb there, and remember that there is a big difference between joy or happiness and peace, okay? All right, so they saw Mary and Jesus, and they worshiped Jesus and sacrificed their valuables to him, giving him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. A lot of scholars say that as they fled, whenever the Lord came to them and said, hey, Herod's going to kill Jesus, y'all need to get out of town, and they fled, they probably used these gifts to buy their way to safety. And so we see these gifts that these wise men just sacrificed and gave to Jesus, helped Jesus escape to safety. And let me tell you, the gifts that we give here at New Shores aren't just used on Christmas or Christmas decorations, okay? These decorations are like close to 10 years old. Right? Whenever we decorated last Sunday night, some of y'all were here, and this one was looking like that in like 20 minutes. This one, I think they spent like an hour just trying to get the lights to light up on that thing, right? They were working on it hard and getting it, but I mean, it looks great, it looks beautiful. It's awesome, they got it done, but I'm telling you, that's not what the money goes towards. All right, money goes towards ministry. We got our big give going on with those envelopes. We're giving towards Wednesday night, our Wednesday night program. We got like 160, 180 kids come in here every Wednesday night. Man, I've seen so many people saved through the Wednesday night ministry. Man, that's our money that we give, our gifts, the tithes and offerings to this church, goes to save souls out of hell. Here. Like, it doesn't go, look at the carpet, all right? Look around. Like, our money goes towards ministry. That's our number one priority here. I love being part of this church because that's our main focus. So you can know, without a shadow of a doubt, that your money's being used for good work. All right? And so, a little correlation there. But anyways, I'll move on. I'll get off my third soapbox for the day. All right. So God provides an escape for the wise men to go back another way instead of tipping off Herod. So there's just a little bit of chaos going on in this first Christmas. Some would say, look at it and be like, man, that's quite a lot going on. You know, you don't see it whenever you just kind of read over it. You really kind of dig into it and see all that's going on. There's a lot of moving pieces, quite a lot of bit of chaos going on. And who was losing their minds over all this stuff? Herod. Herod's the only one, right? The wise man, man, chill as cucumbers. Right? Mary, we always have their three wise men because there's three gifts. We don't know how many wise men showed up. It could have been 3. Could have been 300. We don't know. Right? Just rolling up into Mary's house. It's like, yeah, you got a baby. Let's chill with you. You know, like, I know my mom growing up, there would have been problems for everybody in the vicinity, right? The whole block would have been in trouble. Anyways, but yeah, just some chaos going on, some hairiness going on in the situation, and people had peace. Mary had peace. The wise man had peace. If you look at Mary last week, whenever BJ preached on hope, with the angel of the Lord coming to Mary and telling her all that was going to happen, what did she say? Whoa, I need some questions answered here. No. She said, I'm a servant of the Lord. If that's what you say was going to happen, let it happen. She was okay with it. She had peace. That peace that doesn't make sense. Peace that you can't get anywhere else. It only comes from Jesus. In this world full of chaos, Jesus brings peace. So, what is peace? Why is it important? And how is it a gift from God? I'm glad you asked, because I aim to answer those questions this morning. All right, so what is peace? What is peace? The first thing we think of is, like, I would call it as like physical peace, like peace in the Middle East, no more conflict, right? That's the surface level, regular peace. I'm not talking about that kind of peace. I'm talking about spiritual peace, the peace that only comes from Jesus. Right? That peace is a fruit of the Spirit. So whenever you give your life to Jesus, he promises us to give us gifts of the Spirit. And so you have fruit of the Spirit. If your kids come Wednesday night, you've probably heard them sing a song. Fruit of the Spirit is not Anyways, what are the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Right? Y'all know? All right. Anyways, sing it every week. It's great. Love it. It's fun. Anyways, one of the fruit of the Spirit is peace. And this is the peace that we're talking about, not surface level or worldly peace, peace that only comes from Jesus. And here's the deal with fruit of the Spirit. If you are a Christian, all of that fruit will be present in your life. Some of them will be more than others, right? Some of them will be a big old watermelon, like, all right, I obviously say that one. And some of them might be a little blueberry, like, yeah, I got it, but, it needs to grow a little bit more, But all of those should be in our life, and spiritual peace is one of those fruit of the Spirit. So how would I define spiritual peace? Really get my thumb over it so I can really set it out as to what it is, because we can talk about it, and, you have a different opinion on what that would look like, and somebody on this side of the room, and how many people are in here. That's how many different opinions we would have on what a definition of peace would be, right? So I kind of hammered one out, looking at a bunch of different things, and this is the best I can come up with. All right, so what true spiritual peace is that feeling in your heart or your soul when you aren't tormented by your circumstances. That's the best way I think I can explain it. That feeling in your heart or your soul where you are not being tormented by your circumstances. Your circumstances being like anxiety, fear, conflict, all these things that go on in our lives that are hard things that affect us. But if we have true peace, there's a feeling in our heart and our soul where we're not tormented by all those things going on. And that kind of peace, you can't find yourself. I wish you could, but I firmly believe you cannot find it on your own. And it's one of those things where you can't just flip a switch. I'm just going to choose peace today, and everything's going to be great. Right? Man, I've tried. Right? I've tried, and it just don't work that way. It don't work that way. There's definitely a decision to be made. You have to make a decision. But it doesn't just magically happen. The Lord has to give it to you. Here's just two situations where I have had peace and have not had peace. And there's thousands of them in my short 38 years of life, but these are just two easy ones, high water marks. Situation number one was 2018. My daughter was 3 years old. She had the seizure at school, at daycare, and took her to the hospital, and they're like, we need to have emergency brain surgery. The scans look like cancer. It's going to be a long road. All right, a month later, I get a call from my dad that my mom has stage 4 cancer. It's going to be a rough road. All right, situation number two. Last year, when I felt like God calling me to make a career change. I've been a pastor here for 9 years. I was like, man, what are you asking me to do? I don't want to do that, And so it was hard. Situation number one, I had peace. I can't explain it. It only came from God. But man, I had peace in that whole situation. Both of them. That God loved me, and he was going to take care of everything in his way. Nothing I could do about it. Didn't have to worry about it. It was hard. I'm telling you, it was not easy at all. I wanted more than anything just to get my little girl back and get all the wires and everything off her and all these things going on. But I had peace in it. Situation number two, it took me a long time to get there. Man, I fought with that for months and months before God finally calmed my heart down enough to give me peace. Where he was leading was where I needed to be. It took a while. Situation number one turned out great. Emma didn't have brain cancer, just an abscess that cut her head open. Fixed it. She was fine. No problem. My mom died 8 months later, but that's life. God chose to heal her once and for all. And that's how it goes sometimes. Man, I have full peace with that. That God was in charge of that situation. That's what he wanted to do. All right? Situation number two, man, I love where I'm at. I know that's exactly where God wants me to be. I have full peace in that. Peace that doesn't make sense. But I know that's where God wants me to be, and I love being there. And I've been able to talk to a whole bunch of guys, a whole bunch of hardened pipeliners about Jesus, a whole lot more than I thought I would be able to. And it's a lot of fun, and I love it. And I know, man, God moved me there, and it's great. It's better for everybody. And I have peace about it. Peace that you can't find on your own. It doesn't make sense. but God gives it to us. You can search for peace, and you'll never find it. Some people never find peace. Never find true peace. It's something only Jesus can offer us. So, the mixture of joy and peace. Let's talk about that for a little bit. All right, a lot of times we look at joy and peace as the same thing, but they're completely different, and I can prove it to you with this right here, all right? Can money buy you happiness? Absolutely, it sure can. Whoever says no, you're a liar. It sure can. It can buy you happiness, absolutely. Now, I mean, will it last? Absolutely not. It's fleeting for a short time. But money can buy you happiness, absolutely. If somebody's just like, nope, it sure can't. Man, you ain't bought nothing fun enough or cool enough. Because let me tell you, money can buy you happiness for a little bit. All right? What about if you have really good circumstances in life? Home life's going great, job's going great, money's going great. You happy? Yeah, everything's good. You're happy. What about whenever circumstances change? That. You still happy? You ain't happy no more, right? Bad situations, bad circumstances, you get a bad mood pretty quick, right? Happiness is short. What about if you work really hard for something? Let's say a promotion at work. Man, you're doing everything right, and you get it. You happy? Good satisfaction right there. But what if you don't? What if you work really hard and do everything right, and it doesn't pan out? Now you're frustrated and angry and sad, right? Just whenever your circumstances change. Just a little bit. All right, what if you plan smart for a good future? Work everything right financially, stock market, all that stuff, and it doesn't work out. Happy? Not really. Pretty upset, pretty angry. The circumstances change, and it changes your happiness like that, your joy. But peace is something totally different. You can do a lot of things to be happy. You may find a little joy in there. But even whenever you're happy and have joy, you totally miss peace. You cannot have it. Why is that? Why is it so hard for us to find true peace? True peace inside of ourselves. I'll tell you why it's hard for me to find. Because I know me. I know how bad I am. I know my failures. All times I've disappointed people. Right? Let's be honest with ourselves. I know how broken I am. I know how weak I am. I know how unfaithful I am. I know how bitter I can be. I know what I think about other people. I know what I'm guilty of, right? And on and on and on, right? We're all terrible people, if we're honest. And I think that's why it's so hard for us to find inner peace, because we know us. We know us. But you know what? Jesus knows all that stuff too. Every single bit of it. And more, even the stuff we've forgotten because we're so bad, right? He knows everything. You know what he says? Don't worry about it. I know it all. You're not alone. He offers us forgiveness. He says that he's paid that price in full, once and for all. And even more than that, he says, I'll make you a new creation. I'll take all that junk and I'll separate it from who you are from now moving forward. All right? He says he throws it as far as the east is from the west. Little geography lesson. If you look at a globe, all right? I'm not a smart man, never claimed to be. If you look at a globe and you start going north, eventually you start going south again, right? North and south, north and south. What if you start going east on the globe? You never go west. You're always going east. If you go east, or if you go west, you're always going west. You never go back east again. Right? You're always the east and the west. You know how far apart they are? Forever. They're forever apart. So he says he takes all that junk and he'll separate it from who you are now moving forward. All that stuff. Man, the problem with us finding inner peace is us. It's us. And then Jesus says, I offer you a better way to live. A better way of life. When you come to grips with that the God that created everything knows exactly who you are and says, I'll forgive it all. Make it all go away. Now peace is possible. Now peace is possible. That's a place, that's true peace, where your heart can be set free from circumstances. John 14:27, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. And I don't give like the world gives. Don't let your heart be troubled or fearful. Jesus gives true peace. And not a temporary peace. It's not happiness. It's an eternal peace. I found that peace has more to do with our relationship with God than it does with anything else. If we know who he is and what he said about us, how he set us free, how he's taken all that stuff and thrown it away as far as the east is from the west, and we're chasing him, we're looking for him, we're worshiping him, it's a lot easier for us to find peace. It's not a magic switch, but it's there. It's available. Sometimes it takes a lot longer for us to soften our hearts and let God take control of it. So, don't let your hearts be troubled. That's what he says. It's real easy, right? Hard to do on your own. Impossible to do on your own. But God says, I will give you my peace. Now, what is the definition of peace I gave y'all? It's that feeling in your heart or your soul is not tormented by our circumstances. In this world full of chaos, Jesus gives true peace. He's the only one that does. So in this Christmas time, let Christ take control of your heart, not the chaos. There's plenty of chaos to be had, and it's coming. So choose to let go of control and let Christ take control of our hearts. Because peace is a gift from God. And God's good, y'all. He's good. And he gives good gifts. Peace is a good gift that he gives us. So, you can't get it on your own. You can only get it through Jesus, who says, man, I love you, and I can change you. And let him change you. We need peace. We need true peace. Philippians 4:6-7 says this. It says, do not worry about anything. That's easy, right? Do not worry about anything, but in everything, through prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. It's impossible on your own, but it's possible with the gift of peace. So, there's a lot of people in this room, right? I don't know you all. I'll stand out there and I'll hold the door sometimes on Sunday morning, and 50 people will come in, and I don't know any of y'all's names, right? The church is growing. It's awesome. It's beautiful. But I don't know you. I don't know your unique situation. I don't know what you're going through. But I can promise you this. There's more than one person in this room today that needs to let go of control and accept that free gift. Somebody maybe has to do that for the first time this morning. Maybe for some of us, we need to do it for the 1,000th time this morning. Or the 100,000th time. Or the 1,000,000th time.